Okay, so today I had to call off work. My sinuses were just really like acting up, and man, it just I like went to bed like kind of early last night to kind of like drain the sinus from one to the other so I can kind of breathe a little bit. And I was going to do dishes and then do some editing, but then I wound up falling asleep and not waking up to about 12:30 because I went to go quote unquote lie down at about 9:30, and then I wound up falling asleep and then waking up about 12:30, 1 o'clock. And then from there, it was just like, just kept blowing my nose. It was just endless. And then it just, the sinus got worse. It got all puffy. And it was just like, man. And I think I was up to about almost 4 o'clock in the morning, like getting in and out of bed, blowing my nose. It just wouldn't stop, man. My nose would just run. I would bend over and wash my hands, and then you just see this drop coming from my nose. I'm like, oh, come on, man. So, if I sounded a little nasally, obviously, because, I'm dealing with the sinus infection. Yes, I refuse to go see a doctor for that. I refuse to get antibiotics for it because I believe that my body can heal itself, and that's what I'm going to do is, get my body to heal. And how's it going so far? Miserably. So I'm trying to get plenty of rest. I'm trying to drink plenty of water, and then, but I was still kind of like, stuffed up. You can still feel like the sinus was swollen. So I have this medication called meloxicam that I was using for my wrist. It'll kind of work for my wrist if it's swollen in that area and it's squeezing on the nerve and then causing a lot of pain. It'll work for that. But it'll also take care of the swelling of my sinus. So I went ahead and I took the meloxicam, but I had to make breakfast because I have to take it with food or just upset my stomach. So so I'm there, making food. I got tissue stuffed up in my nose just so I can, cook the eggs and stuff like that. And it was just, oh God, it was unbearable. But anyway, I was able to take the meloxicam, and then it took a couple hours before it took effect. So here I am back in and out of bed, laying down, trying to get the sinus to drain from one side to the other, and then blowing my nose and all that other fun stuff. And then finally I decided to take a shower because it was starting to relieve itself a little bit. Not by much though. And so once I took the shower, I cleared up. So I was like, okay, and I'm kind of thinking, maybe I can go to work or whatever. And I'm like, what? I'm just going to go ahead and ride the wave and then see what happens. And yeah, I think about 4 hours after I took a shower, and then my nose started running again. So it would have been a moot point. Right now I'm okay, but as you can tell in my voice, it's like I'm still kind of stuffed up and congested, and I'm still having to blow my nose or take care of it because it runs a little bit. So, and right now it's a little windy out here, so that ain't helping. So I don't know if it's because of the wind, maybe it's the Santa Ana winds. That's why it's also warm, and that's why my allergies are up a little bit. So, oh my goodness, man, you guys, if you ever had allergies, man, it just makes me sleepy like all the time, and then sometimes I can breathe, sometimes I can't, but then it's just that sleep. No matter how much rest I get, it'll always put me to sleep because the histamines just go out of control. So, but I tried, like the best I can just to so I can make it for work tomorrow. And yeah, because it's just like I don't want to keep calling off because of this, but like with you guys, what will make you call off work? How much can you take of a cold, or you got some type of infection before you call off work? Me, I look at how much can I function, without having to every 15 minutes go blow my nose or have to go lay down or something like that. I kind of gauge it by that. And if I can't go a full hour without, having to blow my nose or something a couple times or whatever, then I'll usually just call off work because I just become useless. I'm not going to get any work done. And then also, if I'm actually sick, am I going to get anybody else sick? because now I'm working in a clinic with a lot of people. It's not like I'm doing home health where I'm kind of like isolated, and I can kind of pawn it off as like it's allergies, because usually at that time I don't know if I'm sick or if it is allergies, and 9 times out of 10 it's allergies. But like with this in the clinic, it's just like, I don't know, I just can't breathe, I just can't concentrate, so I just choose to call off and then try to get some rest, try to get some sleep. All right, the dogs are fighting. Kids. So I just chose not to go to work, and it was a good call, because the last time I called off for the same thing, like after I took the shower, I felt fine like the rest of the day. So I was just like, okay, I wonder if it's going to be the same thing. No, even after I took the shower, I was okay, but I could just feel it. It's just, I wanted to go to sleep, probably because I didn't get enough rest last night, but I just wanted to go back to sleep, lay down. But it's like I get to a point where it's just like I don't want to stay in bed all the time. So if I sit on the couch, watch the Dodger game, they lost. Typical. They're going great, they start out great, and then they're just choking. But anyway, no, I try to gauge it for that, and if I fall asleep on the couch, I fall asleep on the couch, no big thing. But I just don't like laying down all the time, because your body just reacts to that. If you lay down all the time, then your immune system starts to suffer, and what I mean by that is your immune system gets weaker and weaker the more you lay down and the less active you are. So I try to stay as active as I can, just to get my immune system just to kickstart and go. But my immune system is just really like getting pretty bad. And then I also noticed too, I might be getting eczema. So I've got certain areas, like I don't know if you can see it on camera, but there's like a blemish here. And then I don't know if you could see here, like my eye, I'm starting to show blemishes. But I just look in the mirror and I just shake my head. I go, there it goes. Am I going to start getting like subconscious, like being on camera? I've got these blemishes starting because I've got eczema, and then I'm going to be scratching and itching the area a lot. And I just kind of decided, what, it is what it is. This is the hand that I've been dealt in life. And, if I got like, blemishes, blemishes, whatever on my face, and, I'm not going to cover it up. I'll put some cream on it so it doesn't itch, so I'm not there, scratching my eye or my forehead a lot. But if there's like a red patch and it just starts getting raised bumps and stuff like that, I'm just gonna deal with it. I'm not gonna hide my face. I'm not gonna put on makeup or whatever just to hide it. It is what it is. It's there, and that's what I'm just gonna deal with life. And if everybody stares at me from that, then there it goes. But hopefully it's just something temporary and it'll go away. But if it doesn't, I'm just gonna live with it. You get a certain age where you just start getting tired of stuff, and you just go, I just don't give a crap anymore. If people want to stare, they can stare. At least I know what they're staring at. They'll be staring at my eye or my forehead. Like I said, it is what it is, and my body's just going through a lot of changes right now, and it's not for the better, let me tell you that. But yeah, I mean, if you see like weird markings here on my eye, around my eye, or like the forehead here, there's a spot here, and over here. I mean, I'll point them out. I'm not bashful about that. But I mean, I just have to make sure, like, if someone's looking at me, like, are they just looking at me because it just happened to, just catch their eye, or they're looking at something on my face because, I got a blemish or whatever. Like I said, I'm to the point I just don't care. And I'm just going to deal with it and just not be too self-conscious about it, because I've got other things to do than just be subconscious to, I've got a blemish there. I also got one on my elbow, that's starting to form, and and even if it's cancer, who cares? Just deal with it. I'm not going to go through treatment. I'm not going to put poison in my body. I'm not going to go through radiation. I'm just going to try to see if I can control it through diet, stuff like that. And I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to try to suffer just to get a couple more years as I'm wasting my years going through chemotherapy or radiation therapy. I'd rather be out there living my life best I can. If it winds up to be cancer, I'm just not going to go through all those treatments. I'm just going to do what I can, control it with diet, and any antioxidants or radicals I can take through food or whatever, and just treat it that way. But I'm not going to use modern medicine to get rid of it. If it's my time and that's the way I'm going to go with cancer, that's what I'm going to do. But while that's going on, I'm going to live my life. I'm not going to waste it, being sick from chemotherapy or radiation therapy. That's just silly. I've lived long enough to where I feel I've done everything that I should have done in my life, which was help people, because that's what I do as a nurse, and I've helped a lot of people, and I feel satisfied with the amount that I've helped. That I'm just on an extension of my life right now. So anything and any years that I've got left, I'm blessed. I'm blessed with it, and that's how I'm just gonna treat and live my life, because I just don't want to live it getting sick trying to get better. Does that make sense? I hope it does. But what are your choices? Like if you have something like eczema or something like that, are you going to spend time trying to hide it, trying to cure it? Are you just going to be open about it? What do you guys think about that? What do you guys would do if you have something like that? Like I said, I'm at an age, I just don't care. It's like I've done everything that I want to do, and just having a little blemish is just going to add a little more excitement, a little more spice to my life, because, just something else to deal with and something else to, I'm not even going to try to cover it up, even if it was right here, I'm not even going to try to cover it up. It's just, it is what it is. And, I'm rambling because I'm not feeling well, because the sinus infection and the histamines, and plus I haven't had much sleep last night. So, but I hope you enjoy the video. I'm still trying to do the daily stuff. Even if I'm sick, I'm still going to try if I can, and just go out there and get business done. So yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you very much for watching, and stay tuned for the next one. Until the next time, I make another vlog for you guys. Love you all. Have a good night.